Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tailgating with Lot C. I'm Joe, and I'm joined with my host, Mark.
Hello, everyone.
And today we're serving up some food for thought on a surprise BNR update,
Out of nowhere.
as well as talking about the full list of double masters and our thoughts on the cards.
Mm-hmm.
So today, was it August
Third?
3rd? WotC came out with an article with a BNR update, seemingly unannounced.
Yeah, I had no idea that it was even happening at all.
I think it just came out of nowhere.
Because I remember the last one.
It didn't come out of nowhere. What it is they finally did some stuff that they should have done a long time ago.
They were like, whoops.
Yeah, we have cards that have been banned / suspended in several formats, probably the most important being Pioneer and Standard.
Absolutely.
They kind of went back and corrected the mistake that they made with Pioneer in the last BNR that we had, where
they did nothing, basically.
They did nothing
besides
for
unbanning
Pioneer.
both Anissa.
So we have quite a few things to talk about. I suppose we can start with Pioneer, since in my opinion it's probably the most important.
Right.
And what do we have for Pioneer going? We have pretty much the main combo pieces that everyone wanted to go. We got Inverter gone.
We have Underworld Breach gone from Lotus Field. Walking Ballista, which I'm not angry about, I suppose. I mean, it's not the worst, I guess. You know, it's a big, incredibly powerful card, and in Pioneer, it's definitely up there as one of the best.
Right.
And the last one being Kethis from Core 20, which I'm guessing there's a combo deck running around. I know I've seen against one in Modern before. Maybe there's another one running around. I know that the Modern version I saw was playing like Hope of Dropper and other cards like that. So I suppose that could have been the same kind of thing.
Right. And of course, the two main, obviously, is Inverter, Truth, and Underworld Breach.
Yeah, the ones that have needed to go for our entire year.
Yeah, pretty much. I would say maybe like 2 months into Pioneer. Maybe a couple months in.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
maybe longer,
really what it is it's when did Theros come out?
Was that the
Pioneer was not that old when Theros came out.
Was that was that first set of this year? I think it was. Yeah, it was first set.
So, because Pioneer before Theros, I mean, there was a couple decks I would consider to be kind of unfair, but Theros just was like the nail in the coffin for the format.
Yeah, it might have been like 3 months maybe into it, or a little bit around there, because Pioneer was like September-ish, right, last year.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So so a little bit after it, but yeah, it's been a long time coming for these cards to go. I mean, as we've harped on it for a couple of podcasts now, especially when we were talking about when they thought they would go with the last BNR. I mean, they're dominating the meta. Their entire, excuse of, win rates don't reflect it entirely.
Right.
Is complete crap.
Well, that's the thing is, even though the win rates might not reflect it that much, it's still cards that people just absolutely loathe playing against.
It's like, well, maybe
sometimes
win rates,
that's enough.
Yeah, it's like maybe win rates don't reflect as much because people just don't want to play it.
Right, exactly.
It's not like Standard where they have Arena. It's easy. People are still going to be I think people on Arena are more inclined to just play the top tier decks. But it's like, I mean, I had no desire to play any of the top decks, and most people that you see talk about Pioneer have no desire to play them either.
Right.
It's all just these sweaty people that like to play the Pioneer leagues and just be like, oh, I'm going to play Inverter today. It's like, I mean, have fun. Sure.
Right, because we started playing Pioneer when it came out, and it was just a format to brew and play anything kind of fun.
Regular Magic.
Right, play fair Magic is what it was.
Yeah, it was a great balance between fair and competitive, which is something that everyone strives to find.
Right.
And of course, as we all knew, or most of us knew, I think a lot of people were oblivious to the fact that it was going to happen to this format as well. Decks were going to take over, the meta would shape, and then the format would not become as what it was in the beginning.
What I think was, I guess, the worst part about it, though, is that generally you would see a format last a lot longer before the unfair decks just instantly take it over.
Yeah.
And it was kind of on the path to last a while, and then they released Theros Beyond Death.
Yeah.
And everything
Yeah.
fell to pieces.
Power creep definitely is hurt Pioneer.
For
Because if
sure.
it came out, like, for example, 6 years ago, and like there wouldn't exactly have been enough card pool. Like, I don't know, there wouldn't have been a big enough card pool going back, I think, for them to just be like, so many powerful cards are going, like Uros and all these other things, you know what I mean? So you know, it's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to revive Pioneer? I don't know. Pioneer definitely still hurts in the fact people aren't going to be able to play in paper because a lot
Right.
of people don't want to play MTGO. I'm including me as one of them. I'm not exactly the biggest fan. I just can't stand the look of it, as many people don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just not sure how it's going to go. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So, beyond Pioneer, we also got a couple other formats. Standard being the next big one.
Yeah, great timing.
Terrible timing. Terrible timing on these ones because the majority of these are going to be rotating.
Yeah, in less than 2 months.
So it's a little bit frustrating that it's like we finally just now get the BNR to get rid of them when cards like Wilderness Reclamation, Growth Spiral, Teferi have been issues in the format
Since they
since
were
they were
printed,
printed.
it's not like they were a combo piece that all of a sudden came into fruition afterward. Just like as soon as they were printed, it's like, that's a really good card.
Yeah,
Like, and look at how much they've been played. Every single meta since they've been printed, they have not left the meta.
right.
Growth Spiral has been in there some fashion. Teferi's always been in some fashion, whether he was an Esper hero or Control or this or that or Bant, or whatever. He was
Mm-hmm.
always in it. And Wilderness Wreck, Team of Wreck has been a deck forever. It barely has changed. It's been the
Forever.
same thing.
And it's only recently that it's kind of become the arch enemy because prior to that you had
Oko.
Oko, you had
You,
Fires of Invention.
yeah.
So it's only kind of recent that people are really complaining about Wilderness Rec, but Team of Reclamation has always been just very powerful.
Yeah, it's never been a bad deck. It's always been a 7 out of 10 or better. Always.
So it is nice to see these cards go. I'll be able to enjoy Standard a little bit more moving forward until the rotation happens. Unfortunately, it does feel like it's a little too late.
Yeah, it's like rampaging for us on Take Two, just a lot more going on. It's like, what's the point
Mm-hmm.
besides people getting more redeemed wild cards? That's the best thing to come out of this, because
Yeah,
who was playing standard now anyway, for the most part? I mean, some people, but it's definitely a huge lull point
oh
right
yeah,
now,
definitely.
especially with the pandemic happening. You would expect there to be a crap ton more people on Arena, on the client, playing, and there's just no hype for standard at all.
Right.
Everyone's just sick and wants to get out there and play modern and commander again,
Mm-hmm.
which, I'm one of them. But it's just weird again by WotC. It's like, why? I mean, what is what it is. I guess Culture Familiar is the one where it's like, all right, that's fine, because that one will not
Cauldron,
rotate.
right? Eldraine's still going to be around, and it will be nice because one of the things that I was a little bit worried about was that post rotation,
Rakdos Sack or
we were going to see
Junsack.
Rakdos /
Yeah,
Junsack just
Corvault come back again.
come back into the meta. And honestly, it's not that amazing of a deck.
I'm not even that angry about it either. Yeah,
But what it is sitting there and waiting for your opponent to loop it
yeah,
is so aggravating. At least if you're playing in paper, you could just say, I'm gonna loop the cat, and you call it a day. On Arena, you have to sit there and watch them go through the steps, which can get very aggravating when they have 1 to 2 cats and 1 to 2 ovens on the board.
hmm
It's like you're just sitting there waiting for them to do it. And that alone is a reason to get rid of the card.
yeah. I mean, I'm fine with it, and especially since the fact it mainly went to Rakdos style decks, and as a Rakdos player, I'm not really upset to see it go. I think a lot of people were using it as a crutch.
Right.
Which, as on one hand, yes, that's probably the one broken thing about Rakdos at this point in the entirety of Standard.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it is what it is. It's fine. I think that it's just kind of boring.
Yeah, the cat oven with the devil on the board.
Yeah, Mayhem
Mayhem
Devil and
Devil.
things like, Claim the Firstborn and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
I mean, yeah, they were. I wouldn't say that they weren't broken decks at all. They were just annoying to play against with that endless loop
hmm
and the ability to use your 1/1 to block and then sack it in response and then just continue the loop was just very frustrating.
hmm
Um,
Yeah, there's a reason you don't see many creature decks in Standard at this point.
right.
Because if you're either one, you're gonna get blown out by just people going over the top of you, or two, you can't get through any damage because they're just gonna keep block sacking.
Yeah, aggro,
It's awful.
aggro, and like creature based mid range decks, they're terrible right now because
Yeah.
of cards like Uro.
You
Uh,
can't get over it.
and Teferi, which is now gone, but
And
was going to
Ugin,
rotate soon. And of course, you have ramping into Ugin, which just
Teferi,
shuts your
time,
whole day down.
Teferi, Master of Time. There's plenty of planeswalkers that just negate your entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, they have the phasing ability and everything else. It's just like nothing you can do.
Yeah. Then we also got a couple of cards suspended in Historic. We got Wilderness Reclamation suspended, as well as Teferi suspended in Historic,
No problems with that.
which is great because I would go into Historic and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to face against goblins and whatever else people are coming up with, the Exquisite Veto
Vampires,
combo
yeah.
or something like that, which is fine by me. But no, you would still run into the almost exact same from standard Teamer Reclamation deck, which was just so frustrating because I use Historic as an escape from standard on Arena, as a way for me to run into different decks and have a fun time playing with decks that just wouldn't work, without some of the pieces from Historic.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, to always be running into Teamer Reclamation on Historic was very frustrating, same as it was for Standard. So it's nice that the card is suspended,
Yeah.
so I don't have to deal with that.
And then it's, of course, same with the fairies. Just the ones play against control and historic, and it's too broken.
Yeah, Azorius control, Esper control has been pretty good in Historic as of late, and getting rid of Teferi
Yeah,
helps a lot.
similar to Cult Familiar. It's like you don't need Teferi to play control. There's so much board wipe in historic, and there's so much counter potential and all these other things. Again, it's a crutch. You don't need to play it. You're not even playing control at that point. You're playing prison. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you're just forcing your opponent to sit there on the other side without anything to do because they can't cast spells.
Yeah.
I mean, it's boring.
Yeah, any of you people playing Teferi, yeah, I have no sympathy for you. You were playing a boring deck, so try more.
Hey, I play Azorius control in Standard, and I played the crap out of Teferi, but I'm happy he's gone because now I don't have to face against him.
Yeah. Aggravating card. Hopefully he goes in Modern and Pioneer too.
Every format, get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm so tired of that card. So, and then speaking of Teferi as well, Banded Brawl. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are playing Brawl now.
Yeah, if you were playing Teferi Time Raveler as your Brawl commander, shame on you. Shame.
For shame.
You're a terrible person. I don't even care.
I mean, what is Brawl meant for? It's it's a fun little commander kind of format. You go in there and you just can't cast spells.
I'm tired of Magic should be for fun, but I get playing some competitive. But like Teferi Time Raveler commander, what is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least play Teferi Hero with Dominaria, but even still,
even in the 99 or 59,
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, very very aggravating. I mean, yeah, we go on and on about how annoying Teferi is, shutting down any spell you want to cast, bouncing your creatures, card draw. It's just endless value.
Yeah, if I wanted to play boring turn-based TCG, I'd play Hearthstone. All right.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna play Hearthstone.
Yeah, no, we're
sorry for your Hearthstone fans out there.
This isn't a Hearthstone podcast, in case you hadn't noticed.
It is what it is.
But overall, I mean, surprise BNR. I'm happy about it.
No, yeah.
I'm annoyed that some of these didn't come sooner. I think that this should have just been what the BNR was, the last time, along with Astrolabe and a couple of the other cards. But,
yeah.
So it's a little annoying that they had to go through a BNR and then just be berated in order to actually ban what they needed to ban.
Well, it seems like they had to be berated to make any sort of good decision these days. It's getting ridiculous,
Mm-hmm.
And especially, I mean, just financial side, game side, everything else. It's like, geez, social decisions, with obviously back with Elizabeth banning from the Creator Club is just like, what are they doing? On all sides of the ball here, it's like they seem to be dropping it. So it's fine. I'm actually a little bit unhappy they weren't a bit more aggressive again, saying they didn't do more with the Modern, but I don't know. Maybe that's just the decision of whether they want to do more aggressive bannings with more power creep, or they want to print like less powerful cards and have other boring sets, which is one of those things again that I'm just like, I'm tired of seeing that on MTG Twitter and the MTG, universe in general is just everyone's so obsessed with, whoa, maybe we're having too many bannings. It's like, okay, you make the decision. Do you want them? It's going to be the same kind of thing at the end of the day. They're going to either print more powerful cards and they're going to have to ban them, or you're going to have the less, fun sets like to other people, not to me, like Ixalans and Kaladesh and Hour Devastations.
Right.
It's either they're going to have one or the other. And I like Kaladesh and Ixalan and Hour Devastation. I think they were fun sets.
Very fun themed
Good
sets
flavor too.
that had story.
Yeah.
And though the Magic story kind of got quite shaky towards the end,
Yeah, they
you
got
know, with War of the Spark and whatever, but
yeah.
it's nice to have a set and kind of have a theme and a
Yeah,
story to
follow
go along
plot,
with it.
yeah.
I mean, you know, Theros, obviously you had the theme of like the gods and whatever, but
But nothing really happened. Yeah, there
no,
was very individualistic stories with very
yeah.
little plot behind them
And
anyway.
then you get Ikoria and it's creatures that mutate.
Yeah.
That's the whole story,
Vivian's there, I
basically.
guess, or something.
Yeah, so you do have to kind of pick your poison.
Yeah, and I it's fine either way. I mean, if you want to complain a little bit, I get a lot of bannings can be annoying because of deck building and buying cards and whatnot. But again, if none of these cards beyond maybe Kethis and maybe Walking Ballista, were you going to be like, wow, that was came out of nowhere. I never expected that card to get banned. It's like, well, there's Wreck and Teferi were easy.
Yeah.
Walking Ballista and even still for like value wise, Walking Ballista is not going to go down in price with the Pioneer banning. Maybe $1. Maybe. Probably not.
Not
The only thing it's
much.
going to go down from is the reprint now.
Yeah, I mean, it's played so heavily in Modern.
Yeah, it's played in so many decks,
It'll
in
be
so many
fine.
formats. It's not going to go down in price. Kethis was never expensive, in my opinion, from what I know. I don't think he's ever been an expensive card. So all these cards, you knew where the writing was on the wall. That was your fault. It's like if you bought into Hogak before he was banned in Modern, you knew it was going to happen. Have a little bit of brains instead of complaining about everything else. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just MTG Twitter gets so annoying because they just complain about everything. There has to be something. And I get it. There's a lot to complain about with WotC, but it's like, what do you want him to do? You're going to have either your Eldraine set, or you're going to have your Amonkhet. Whichever one you want, that's how it's going to go.
Very true.
So that should be an our announcement. I'd say overall, that not much else to say. I think pretty obvious cards going for the most part.
Yeah.
So moving on next, what do you say? Double Masters, right?
Double Masters.
Wrapping it up.
Yeah, this kind of like the wrap up, I guess, of Double Masters. All the previews have come out now. We have the full card list that we can look at. Overall, what are your thoughts?
I'm pretty happy.
I am
mean,
too.
I'd say 8.5 out of 10. Almost a 9. I think there's a few cards I could have put more on, but overall, I think it was pretty dang good. A lot of really great cards. I think that the price is it's a bit of an ask, I think, overall, but it's justified for the most part. A few questionable. The only say is the 1.5 negative is a few questionable rare prints. The upgrading of Ravenous Trap to a rare, which makes no sense whatsoever. So I think if there's a few more cards they could just added in, that would have been really noticeable. Needed cards that are just way too high in price. As we talked about last podcast, Go the Drake, like $200 card, Survival of the Fittest, along with others. Chalice of the Void would have been nice to see. So some of those cards I think would have been nice. But we got that Thoughtseize, which was amazing, and the 10 filter lands instead of just the 5 was really really nice to see.
Yeah, in our last episode, I think I had said, the filter lands came out, only the allies is what I'd said, but between that episode and this one, yeah, the rest of the filter land came out, which was nice. Along with Thoughtseize.
Yes,
was that
Thoughtseize.
came out
That came out after the podcast we put up. So another prediction there, kind of.
Yeah, so a lot of good cards in this set, along with the box toppers. I think they're gorgeous.
Yeah, there's a lot of beautiful, beautiful box toppers.
And I think the value you get from a pack is probably going to be fine.
Yeah, it's pretty justified, I'd say. And again, I think about the people complaining about it. They're still booster packs. I know they're $18, and I understand it's expensive. Like, I'm not going to disagree with you there, but there's always been a gamble between buying a standard booster pack and buying any other booster pack. Buying a Legends booster pack, still a gamble. Yeah, you can lose money, probably not, because there's so much expensive cards. But every time you buy a booster pack, you should go into it thinking, I'm probably going to lose money on this, but I'm doing it for fun. You don't go into it by expecting financial profit all the time. Maybe a little bit back, and you're hoping for it, but you never should go into it saying, this is going to be a moneymaker. It's not how it's going to be. So, I think that you'll probably do pretty well. We bought a booster box. We're going in on one, and I think we'll do pretty well. But, am I expecting to make money on it? No.
No,
but I'm just opening some fun cards.
Just the fun of opening them up and the excitement of what I'm going to get.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to get that box topper. Walking Ballista, I'd love to get Blightsteel Colossus, but, if I don't, I don't. It is what it is, I think. But what else do you think about talking about Double Masters? What are some of your favorite box toppers?
Well, we got Blood Moon.
Blood Moon is beautiful.
Looks awesome.
I love the Blood Moon one.
Sword of Ice and Fire gives me like a lore or a Game of Thrones vibe. The ice and fire, fire kind of thing. A couple other ones that I really like. I mean, Blightsteel Colossus looks awesome.
Yeah, he really does look good.
I really like Exploration.
Yeah, exploration is really nice with that purple like flower. All the Tron artwork I think is really nice between the Karn Liberated and the Tron land. You know, a little bit of a mirage or whatever. That looks really nice. I think
Panorama.
panorama. Yeah,
You
yeah.
you you keep saying Mirage.
Yeah, I like mirage.
This is an Apex podcast.
Hey, well, you know, maybe it will be.
So yeah, there's a lot of gorgeous. Force of Will looks amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm going through the list right now, and
Falsies as well, of course.
I'm just looking at all the box topper artwork that we got, and it's like I'd be happy pretty much getting any of these.
Yeah, they all look really nice, and they're probably also going to be fetch a decent price.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Cyclonic Rift, Stoneforge Mystic, Academy of Ruins.
Jace,
Yeah, Jace, the only one that's one of the
not
only,
different from the Mythic Edition, I don't think, but still going to be good financial value.
definitely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Noble Hire, I mean, all these cards look great.
Dark Confidant.
Yeah, it's really hard to pick a favorite. If I had to, I'd definitely pick Blood Moon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just that Lovecraftian vibe that it has.
Yeah, that, and I love the Thoughtseize artwork as well, but that might just be my bias as a mono black player.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe mono black, but yeah.
Only one I'm iffy on is maybe the Wormcoil engine.
I really like that one. I really like that one.
I don't know.
I understand it, but I've come around to it. I thought the same thing when I saw it. I was like, but then I've come around to it a lot more. So I don't think it necessarily looks bad though.
So there's a lot of really awesome cards, double masters, and when you look at the full list of what has been printed, what are your top 3 favorite cards?
Top 3 is a bit of a difficult one, but I'd say 2 definitely are going to be Joyra, and I would say another one is going to be Thoughtseize for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a big fan of those. And then beyond that, a bit of a tough one. It's going to have to be another artifact. It might be Walking Ballista, I think.
Yeah.
Because any of those will between Blightsteel, Wormcoil, and Walking Ballista, I'm definitely happy to see all of those go.
And they all pair well with Joyra as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd say my top favorite ones. Obviously, I mentioned I like the Blood Moon box topper artwork, but artwork aside, Blood Moon, I'm stoked about.
Mm.
I play red a lot.
Mm.
Blood Moons are expensive. It's nice to get them cheaper so that I can buy more of them.
Right. Yeah, I might have to get a couple more. I only got 2.
Yeah, right now I only have 2 of them in a sideboard. So it'll be nice to possibly try to build some kind of mono red decks or something with a couple of them main board maybe. Like what is it? Free red win red, something like that.
Right.
That'd be fun. I also like seeing Wormcoil reprinted.
Mm.
I already have a playset, but I like to play that card so much, and I'd like to put it in more commander decks, and play like Jeskai artifacts or something like that. So it's nice to have maybe more of those in the future.
Yeah, maybe I can get my playset finally here.
And then obviously my love for Commander has grown quite a bit over this last year or so, and so Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah, that is a really nice one, especially with the price it's at now.
Cyclonic Rift is right up there, probably number 1 favorite card that's been reprinted.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because box topper is nice too.
It is. I've never been super into purchasing a Force of Will or something like that. Some of those more expensive cards that were reprinted.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play a Legacy, so things like Sneak Attack don't really get my juices flowing as much.
Right.
Cyclonic Rift is one of those cards that whenever I'm building a commander deck, I'm like, I wish that were a little cheaper so that I could put it in more things and I don't have to resort to some of the more expensive mana cost wise and worse, sort of those mass board wipes for blue.
Yeah, Devastation Tide and whatnots,
right.
Of course.
Yeah, so those are definitely some of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So not everything, like we kind of touched on with Ravenous Trap, not everything with this set was perfect. Obviously, you have the price of VIP boosters.
Yeah.
Which
ridiculous.
I don't even see a VIP booster. It's possible that you make all your money back from it.
I think you will, as like because with Ikoria, there's so much demand probably.
The foil box toppers that you will get. You get 2 in a pack.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose you'll probably make your money back, but that is a lot of money for 2 cards.
Yeah, you need a lot of spare change to throw out.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I mean, they're $100, $115 a piece,
Yeah, maybe
and
120 at
they're
this point.
probably going to be going up in price already as we speak, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure. So the VIP boosters, I think, are a little bit outrageous for the value you're getting.
True. Yeah, I
A
know.
little bit.
It's only for the people that are like 5% and up are gonna be able to afford them
Yeah.
comfortably.
Yeah, you
So it's just another reprint for like all, or another product for all just the high rolling Magic fans.
yeah, for sure. And uh, then of course we touched on Ravenous Trap. And that's a little bit aggravating.
I see no reason to do it. There's no good reason for them to print it at rare.
It makes no sense. I'm assuming they did it for limited play,
But like, really?
but it doesn't. It's not necessary.
No.
So when I open up a pack, if one of my rares is Ravenous Trap, I'm gonna be pissed
Yeah, I'm not gonna be happy.
because
That other
one,
card better be exploration.
I already own a playset of Ravenous Trap.
Yeah.
I don't need more.
Mhm.
And if it's gonna take the place of possibly a Mana Crypt or something, I'm not gonna be happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other couple things, I mean, people were complaining a little bit about some of the low value rares like Bosch Iron Golem,
Yeah, of course.
like
Thrag
15
Tusk.
cents.
Yeah.
Thrag Tusk, yeah, it's
Nice reprint,
probably
but it's
under a
cheap.
dollar, I'm sure.
There's a lot of others as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of, uh, I guess, questionable choices. Obviously, you kind of need to fill out the set.
Mm-hmm.
You can't only print the most expensive cards. So what we have to keep in mind when we're opening up our packs is you're not going to get lucky on every single one.
True.
And I know that's the point you made a little bit ago is, packs are a gamble. And unfortunately, not every single card that has been printed in this set is a winner.
Absolutely. Speaking of gamble, what's some other cards that you would have liked to see reprinted in this set? Gamble might have been one of them.
Gamble would have been great.
Yeah.
Chalice of the Void.
Yeah, as we mentioned, yeah,
I
of
would have
course.
liked that one. Aether Vial, I think should have been printed.
Mm-hmm.
I like tribal decks, so getting that
Cavern of
cost down.
Souls.
And yep, that's where I was going. Tribal decks, Cavern of Souls would have been an awesome reprint. That card is way too expensive.
True.
And it's a necessity in a tribal build in modern. If you're going to try to do it, you need Cavern of Souls or you're going to get shut down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that you're definitely right with those. I think that, yeah, like I mentioned before, Survival of the Fittest, just some of these cards that are just $100 and more. It's like, we need to get them down. Like, it was nice. What was an Imperial Recruiter was reprinted. Like that wasn't 20 before it was reprinted in Masters 25. It was like $120 or something like that. So, and the reprint of that is great, but it's like, all right, where's the Gilded Drake reprint? It's $200. No one in their right mind with a, any sort of budget is going to buy that card for a commander deck, And another one that I think would have been really nice to see is Training Grounds reprinted. Training Grounds only printed once in Rise of the Eldrazi, never been reprinted. It's sitting at $35. All these cards that are played in so many decks, especially this is a commander staple, need to get reprints. Things like Oracle of Moldiah. Thank goodness they were in Jumpstart, but that could use another reprint. Cards that just they've only been printed once. They need to get reprinted. People that are going into the game cannot afford these cards.
Yeah, and especially with the growth of Commander lately, I would have liked to see a little bit more of the cards that are just staples.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, absolutely staples of the colors that they are in.
Mm-hmm.
They should have all been reprinted.
Yeah, maybe another Vampire Tutor.
We got a couple. I shouldn't just say a couple. We got a lot of good Commander cards reprinted in this set. And overall, obviously, I view this set very positively. I bought into it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree. There's definitely some things that were missing that I hope will be in Commander Legends.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope that's how it'll go. And another card that I literally was just talking about is Buried Alive, which was reprinted in Ultimate Master. So reprinted not too long ago. Still $5 for an uncommon. You can see just how much it's played in commander decks. Like, it's crazy.
They reprinted Manamorphose for essentially the same reason. It's an uncommon, but because it's played so much, it retains its value.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Buried Alive, Would have been great.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm hoping. Yeah, Buried Alive. Entomb is another one. All those kind of cards hopefully go in Commander Legends. I'm assuming that cards like that will, because they're just, again, a $5 uncommon means that it's played heavily in so many decks. I mean, Buried Alive is a graveyard deck staple.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are a few cards that I think just hopefully they'll come with. It would have been nice to see, but it is what it is. Obviously, of course, fetch lands, but you want to get into that tirade. We've talked about it. I mean, if you're an MTG fan, you've heard all about the fetch land argument. So
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of things that could have been in this set. We're hoping that Commander Legends is going to kind of fill the void of all the cards that we didn't get in this one.
Mhm.
I don't see cards like Chalice the Void or Aether Vial
No.
being reprinted in those sets, unfortunately.
Yeah, probably
Which
not
is
Cavern Souls
why,
either.
yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm a little bit more upset that they weren't printed in this one. But there's always triple masters in a
Yeah,
couple years.
yeah, we'll get down to the 14 Masters and we'll get all the 14 CMC cards, so it'll be perfect.
That'll be perfect. Yeah, so there's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah.
We also recently got some Zendikar Rising previews,
Mhm.
and there's not a lot of information. Mark Rosewater talked about it briefly in an article, and we kind of got to see a little bit of a taste of what's coming up in the next standard set.
Right.
Based on the artwork, you could see things like Omnath.
Yeah, of course.
You could see Jace.
Nissa and Nahiri are definitely going to be in the set, we know for sure.
And then really the only thing I wanted to talk about, I guess, is get your opinion on what you think of the set boosters.
Oh, the differentiation. I don't mind it. I think that, I'm not exactly a limited player. I don't really play draft as much. I'm not one to go out there and, it's fine. It's a good, format to play. It's definitely fun, but it's just not, it entices me as much.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's not a bad idea to separate, or this is what you want to do with your Magic. This is what you're going to buy. I don't think that's fine. As long as they keep the prices down, I have no problem with it.
Right.
I think it's fine.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think being somebody that likes to purchase packs just for the fun of opening them, I think it's probably going to be the perfect product for me.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
absolutely.
I hope that it turns out to be perfect product for me. And that's in that case, and it's not going to be, upcharged by a lot just because.
If they upcharge it, that's going to be the problem. That's the problem they run into.
And it comes with 12 cards in the pack rather than 15, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about the possibility of adding certain cards into that would not work in a limited environment, which seems interesting. I'm not really sure how that's going to work as far as legality in like standard, for example, what they would put into those set boosters versus a regular draft booster. I don't know if that just means maybe, a couple more rares or something like that per pack, or
Could be all right.
a couple of, like maybe a play set of one card in a pack or something. It'll be kind of interesting to see. And, we don't have a lot of information on it. Obviously, Zendikar Rising is still, a little ways off.
Yeah.
But it was just something I wanted to mention because it was something that we had not touched upon on the podcast yet.
Yeah, I think that the two problems you just run into is if they start upcharging on, say that, for example, I think one thing that could happen with these sets, because you can't play certain cards in limited. I think that's one of the reasons. For example, fetch lands those again reprinted is because they're like, well, we don't want to put shuffling in a paper standard, so that's why we want to print that. But if they put in only certain boosters, maybe that'll be different. Something like that.
Very true.
But then they can't start saying, all right, we can only upcharge on this booster then. That's, I think, the line they're going to have to walk if that's how this thing goes down. So I think that's just something to keep an eye on, depending what happens with this set.
I agree. But yeah, we have the new BNR. Looking forward to playing some more Arena. Get on to Historic and not run into Teamer Rec. Looking forward to actually trying out maybe a little bit of Standard before rotation.
Yeah, maybe we'll see how Pioneer goes. Maybe I'll dip my hand back into the pool, depending on how it looks.
At least for brewing, maybe, just for fun.
Maybe, yeah. Although I've already dismantled pretty much all my Pioneer decks, but we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, personally, until Paper Magic comes back, I think Pioneer is going to remain
in hibernation, for sure. Yeah.
Until Paper Magic comes back or until it comes onto Arena, it's going to remain the kind of stepchild format.
Yeah, true.
It's going to.
That is what it is.
And then, of course, Double Masters. I'm excited to open up my box.
Yeah,
Our
it's only
box.
about
See,
less
see
than a
what we
week
get.
away, probably. Yeah, I'm very
Hopefully,
excited.
hopefully we get some good toppers and maybe just some good rares that we pull.
Yeah,
Looking forward to it.
box topper Blightsteel.
And yeah, Zendikar Rising coming up soon.
Should be
So
fun.
with that, we're gonna wrap it up. So I want to thank you all for listening and comment down below what your favorite Double Masters card is.
Yeah, maybe some cards you thought might you want to see in the set that weren't there for your. Maybe you have some ideas of your own.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I think it's time to wrap it up. Make sure to pay your parking and have a good night.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. It helps us out a ton. And if you enjoy our content, please consider subscribing. Make sure you follow us on all our social media at Coast Lizards, and have a fantastic day.